Hello, I'm Pearl Fontaine. Welcome to National Focus. Coming up, supplementary estimates of expenditure over $93 million approved. Public Works Minister speaks on geothermal plant, and the OECS Authority discusses the Caribbean Court of Justice. Stay with us as we bring you details of these stories and others when National Focus returns.
What's for dinner?
I know, but you and Cheryl.
Who? Cheryl? Oh, babes, that's nothing.
Nothing with the neighbor, that is nothing.
Hon,
come
on.
Whatever.
You know you're my number one.
And she's number what, 10? Plenty married women get engaged from the husband these days. I don't want to be one of them. From now on, I'm looking out for me.
But babes, I only talk to the woman.
Until I'm certain this will take care of both of us, if you're lucky.
Your family depends on you. Don't take home aids.
Documentaries and in-depth discussions, community walkthroughs, and Yes We Care. See it all on GIS Channel 7.
Welcome back. The fourth meeting of the first session of the 8th Parliament convened on Wednesday. The Prime Minister and Minister for Finance, Honourable Roosevelt Skerrit, presented the supplementary estimates of expenditure for the financial year ending June 2012 in excess of $93 million. The Prime Minister gave a detailed explanation for various appropriations. In pursuit of its goal that every child succeeds and that by 2015 there will be at least one college graduate per household, a loan in excess of $6 million was allocated to the Ministry of Education and Human Resource Development. The Prime Minister, Honourable Roosevelt Skerrit, expounded further.
In respect to the Ministry of Education, Madam Speaker, budgetary provision made in the 2011-2012 estimate proved insufficient to accommodate the ongoing works on the main structures of the new Dominica State College. Work on the state-of-the-art education facility is advancing rapidly. In order to account fully for the value of works undertaken as at the end of June 2012, the additional sum of $6,120,929 was approved. Madam Speaker, when completed, this facility will significantly contribute to the fulfillment of the government's policy objective of one college graduate per household by 2015, since it will have the capacity to produce many graduates to take up leadership roles in this country.
According to the Prime Minister, $18 million was spent under the Ministry of Lands, Housing, Settlements and Water Resource Management, where a significant portion of funds was sourced from the European Union for the West Coast Water Supply Project. He says government is close to providing 100% of Dominica's population with access to potable water.
A significant part of these resources was required to provide budgetary allocation for infrastructural works undertaken under the West Coast Water Supply Project. This comprises of the amount of $13,644,700 from the European Union plus $2,092,700 from local resources. Madam Speaker, the EU is providing financial support for this major social investment. This project is progressing satisfactorily and brings us much closer to achieving 100% access to clean and reliable potable water on the island.
As Dominica's road network continues to be a prominent feature across the island, the Minister for Finance spoke about other allocations under the Ministry of Lands, Housing, Settlements and Water Resource Management.
Local resources were also provided to meet the cost of pipeline works on the Concord component of the Caribbean Territory Water Supply Project in the sum of $388,427. In addition to the above, Madam Speaker, the following appropriations were necessary to effect compulsory acquisition of the properties listed below for public uses. Land at Cotton Hill for housing development, $1 million. Land at Castle Bruce to Widia Aturi Feeder Road, $69,392. Land at Poncase to facilitate the construction of Whitey Kubuli National Trail, $245,145. Property at Bath Road to facilitate expansion of Windsor Park Sports Stadium, $443,138. Further, the sum of $269,985 was provided as disaster relief funds for persons affected by the Layu Valley floods in 2011. This assistance was made possible through grant resources from the Republic of Korea.
Additional provisions were made for the Ministry of Social Services, Community Development and Gender Affairs to address various social interventions in the sum of $2,084,685.68.
$252,000 to undertake various community projects in Granby, $539,774 to provide assistance to victims of Tropical Storm Ophelia, funds provided by the government of Morocco, $150,000 to improve washroom facilities for residents of Woodfordale, $40,000 to assist the Mao Senior Citizens Home, $140,000 to renovate roads in Tetmon, $220,000 to renovate roads in Granby, and $754,912 to bring to account expenditure on various community projects under the CDB-funded Basic Needs Trust Fund project for the period July to December 2011.
We'll bring you more from Parliament in a subsequent newscast. Moving along, Minister for Public Works Honourable Rayburn Blackmore at a press conference last week stated that moves to develop geothermal energy on the island is real. Honourable Blackmore stated that there will be an official statement soon, but in the meantime, operations at the plant are expected to commence early next year.
And we are confident, therefore, by the first quarter of next year, we will see some movement insofar as the commencement of a small power plant, geothermal power plant is concerned. So far, tremendous work has been done by a number of persons to get us to this point where we're now at. Once we have gotten to a position where we have a final deal being finalized between the negotiating parties, a more detailed statement will be made in that regard.
The plant, which the minister calls the greatest legacy left by the Roosevelt-Skerrit government, will be the actualization of one of many pledges made to Dominica.
The commitment that the Labour Party gave of, transforming our natural resources in a way that we can realize some good insofar as energy generation is concerned is unfolding in a practical way. And we're in fact very much optimistic that we will see some serious movement towards the realization of that goal. That is to say, to have a situation whereby we have a real good mix of renewable energy. That is to say, geothermal and hydro. As I speak, already 40% of our energy generation, insofar as electric power is concerned, is already coming from hydro.
Honourable Blackmore says the plant, which is expected to supply about 10 to 15 megawatts of power, will take Dominica to the forefront of sustainable energy development in the region.
If we can get to the point where we can have a mix of hydro and geothermal with some reliance on fossil fuels as a backup, we will be leading the way in the Caribbean insofar as maximizing our benefit our potential is concerned in renewables, and I think that is commendable.
In more news, at the 54th meeting of the OECS Authority held in St. Lucia in January, member states agreed to make the Caribbean Court of Justice their final court of appeal. They also agreed to encourage discussion and understanding of the CCJ in the islands of the OECS. On that issue, Prime Minister Honourable Roosevelt-Skerrit updated the nation on the status of the full implementation of the CCJ. He was speaking at the conclusion of the 56th meeting of the OECS Authority in Rosalie last week.
The Cabinet took a decision in 2006 to recognize the court in both of its jurisdictions, the original jurisdiction and the appellate jurisdiction. We proceeded with the original jurisdiction, and we held back because we recognized that we were part of a Supreme Court system and we wanted to discuss it with the rest of the OECS. We met sometime in St. Lucia and we agreed on a timetable looking at the various constitutions of the islands, the countries, And in looking at the constitutions, it was recognized that both St. Kitts and Nevis and Dominica's constitutions are similar in terms of the process towards recognizing the court in its appellate jurisdiction. In Dominica's case, we have, well, more than 2/3 of the parliament, if we are to avoid a referendum, we would have to negotiate with the British government.
Honourable Skerritt also revealed that before the end of 2012, Dominica's government will write to Britain to begin the process of negotiation. The idea of the Caribbean Court of Justice, CCJ, was established in 1970 when the Jamaican delegation at the 6th Heads of Government Conference proposed a substitute for the Privy Council. Also coming out of that meeting was a decision to address the replacement of the Treaty of Chaguaramas with the revised Treaty of Basse-Terre. The OECS Secretariat and the CARICOM Secretariat are scheduled to deal with this matter at the earliest opportunity, since CARICOM officials are set to meet early next year. In more news, 23 healthcare workers successfully graduated a voluntary counseling and testing training course that ended last week. The closing ceremony was held at the Prevost Cinemall Conference Room, where course facilitator Patricia Joseph gave an overview of the training.
We have 3 persons on my left, the three trainers, who more than 2.5 months ago began the process of becoming clinical trainers so they can continue to train for HIV. They went through the first 2 steps of the process. First was a theoretical one where they had to sit and go through a virtual classroom situation. The second stage was actually being right here where you are, doing skills, clinical skills, and doing all of that. At that point, 2.5 months ago, they were certified as candidate clinical trainers. And this workshop, I'm here so as to have observed them implement an actual workshop and to support them through that process. So I'm happy to state that right now they are now qualified clinical trainers.
Helen Royer, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Health, remarked that the course completion means self-sufficiency for Dominica's HIV/AIDS response program.
What is very gratifying for me, sitting where I am, having been trained as a nurse, is to see that we have arrived at the position where we have our own facilitators. It is very gratifying, and I think we need to applaud ourselves for having our own persons to train. I know that Mrs. Frampton alluded to the fact that they are not being remunerated. I think she throws a little word off and on. It is difficult, we know, with our constraints and to have persons being given additional tasks when they are not being paid for it. But it is gratifying to know that they are willing to, even without that kind of remuneration, that they continue to serve. And I really want to thank them for being able to do that. It tells me that we can, according to the lay people, cut our style. If we cannot get outside facilitators, we are no longer going to be hindered by that. We have our own persons, and that means to say we are going to have more persons trained.
Royer also advised the participants to be good examples of professionalism and to temper their counseling with facts. Coordinator of the National HIV and AIDS Response Program, Julie Frampton, told the ceremony that the successful completion of the voluntary counseling and testing training course is good news.
We all are aware that testing and counseling is the entry point into care and treatment. If we do not test people, we cannot know if they are HIV positive, so that we can provide them with the care and support that they need to lead long and productive life. So today I am so pleased. You know, it's a long time now. We've been out of trainers for testing and counseling services, more specifically voluntary counseling and testing. Now they refer to it as client-initiated testing and counseling. You know, so we so pleased today that we have 20 of you here who have had the provided with the additional skills and knowledge. Our trainers who now will officially be able to train for us in Dominica. We lost our trainers, you know, people have to move on. So our 3 trainers here who I know have put all their effort in, and they have to continue. Now, hard work, you know, and it's not extra pay for the hard work. So we really, really are pleased from the Ministry of Health standpoint and the Nationalist Program that this activity has happened here today.
Graduate Annie St. Luce stated that she is satisfied with the wealth of knowledge that she gained from the training.
It was well worth it, though. We worked a lot. This was a lot of work. A lot of effort was put in, and I must commend the facilitators on the workshop itself. It was very well orchestrated. Everything was put together nicely, and you really kept us on our toes at all times. It is beneficial to us, especially me, in terms of pre-counseling for HIV and AIDS, because at Planned Parenthood we were supposed to be offering that, and I had been begging for that training, and I'm really grateful that we were able to receive that type of training, because most times we find ourselves doing that type of training in a kind of vice-versa manner, and we just do things as we think it should be done. But I'm happy that we now have the protocol to follow, and we were taught well how to stick to it and how to make it work for us and our clients. I'm also happy that it focuses a lot on behavior change for our clients, and that is the most important thing, is trying to debunk certain myths that clients have and trying to ensure that we can in our own way impact on them, that there needs to be some behavior change, and the training handled that really nicely.
The Goodwill Primary School plans for this week to be the best week ever since it was declared Boys Week. Under the theme Aspiring to be Real Men, the school planned a week of activities which began on Monday with a special school assembly. Acting Prime Minister and featured speaker Honorable Rayburn Blackmore told the Goodwill Primary School boys of a few virtues that he says are worth developing.
What you're going to be tomorrow will depend endlessly on what you do today. In life, there are a number of levels we go through for the process of socialization. And your education and your schooling, to me, constitute a very important component of your overall socialization as an adult. Now, if you're going to be a responsible adult tomorrow, there are some skills that you must acquire in the process of socialization. A good education or a good skill. But there are some virtues of life that will determine as to whether you're a good student or whether you're a good Dominican tomorrow.
Honorable Blackmore told the fathers present at that assembly to set proper examples for boys. He explained that adults can only expect good boys if boys can clearly see consistent role models. Here are a few scenes from that assembly.
Men and all those who are aspiring to be real men need to remember that we can be a hero to our wife, a hero to our children, a hero to our community, not just a hero at Domino. You need to be much more than that. If you are aspiring to be a real man, you need to take health issues seriously. Men get cancer, everybody gets cancer, everybody gets high blood pressure, everybody gets diabetes, everybody gets headache. Because you are a real man doesn't mean that you don't get these things. So visit doctor regularly and be health conscious because you are a real man. Agree with me? Everybody normally says, well, that men are afraid of doctors and injection. women too. So don't be afraid.
Boys Week continued on Tuesday with Haircut Day, Career Day on Wednesday, Arts, Crafts and Young Chefs Day on Thursday, an exhibition on Friday, and Game Day at the Botanic Gardens on Saturday. In related news, Honourable Rayburn Blackmore wants men to rise to the occasion and play their parts as fathers in the home and especially to the nation's boys.
Every adult who is responsible must be able to make a positive contribution to the country. But today we realize that in most households, mothers are the ones who come to the fore. I therefore call on you, fathers, to hold the hands of the boys and let you become the role models instead of drug dealers.
And that's the English segment of the news. We now join McPherson St. Luce for the Creole highlights.
Allô tout le monde, bienvenue à cette nouvelle en créole. Non, moi, c'est McPherson St. Luce. Premièrement, Parlement Dominique passé Supplementary Appropriation Bill pendant la session jeudi. Mam fait recommandation yon des sections motion là. Bill cela terminé en Parlement par Premier ministre Honorable Roosevelt Skerritt pour taper pouvoir au Parlement. C'est le ministre de l'Information Honorable Ambrose George qui wind up débit là. Bill cela c'est pour taper pouvoir l'argent gouvernement dépensé qui partait en budget là.
Ouais, c'est un bill qui est bien intéressant parce qu'il est parlé contre 93 millions de dollars qui le gouvernement est passé. Ça c'est pas hard budget là, mais plus que budget là. Pour budget qui passé par 2011-2012. OK. Now, l'argent ça est autant au programme avec activité qui le gouvernement passé. Quand, par exemple, il y a State House là, l'office pour président là, avec résidence pour président là, avec toutes ces autres l'office là pour ces commissions là qui a l'office président là. On a 7 millions de dollars dépenses pour ça. Nous avons l'argent qui est aussi passé pour travailler sur chemin. Chemin, c'est lot 1, Canefield pour Poncasser chemin là. Et deuxième lot là, ça c'est pour Poncasser pour Merville Hall. Aussi l'argent passé pour Pointe-Michel City Fence. Major sous National Security, $300 000 pour gagner pour voiture pour police pour rendre fait plus facile. So là regardez toutes ces ministères là, l'argent dépense pour plusieurs activités avec programme. Avec là où vous mettez ensemble, il vient pour 93 millions de dollars.
En d'autres nouvelles, ministre Public Works qui travaille bien formidable à ce network chimé en paix là. Parole celle-là sortie du ministre Public Works, Honorable Rayburn Blackmore.
Gouvernement Roosevelt Skerritt, le gouvernement Labour Party, qui a mis un pile l'antiway à chimé en Dominique. Nous savons, nous avons un pile travail pour faire toujours. Nous mangeons chimé là, à West Coast Road là, où pour Guantan, ça fait chimé là pour aller à l'aéroport là, nous avons travaillé c'est ça, chimé à Valéa. Mais nous savons, nous mettons en l'antiway à chimé en place rurale, anti-community, et place comme ça. Nous savons déjà fini, nous avons phase 1 à Mont Prosper. On a nous mettons en surface 9. Nous avons battu les culverts, les retaining wall, maçon. Et bien tout de suite, nous avons mis ça qui concrete drain. Tout de suite aussi, nous avons commencé à travailler avant l'allée coco. Là, nous avons chimé là, crazy coconut, pour mener en pour moi speed bump là à Pointe-Michel avant village Pointe-Michel à place là avec Caribe Sand and Stone. Aussi nous cal mettons surface neuf pour entrance là pour wall house avec concrete drains. Nous avons fait travailler comme on parlé avec avant pompon en Coptol. Semaine là qui passée, avant pompon en Isle Black Bridge là, nous mettons un surface neuf. Et tout de suite, nous allons mettre attention à ce chemin en grand fond.
Autorité OECS qui joignent en Dominique semaine passée, d'accord pour Guadeloupe et puis Martinique venir membre ça associate membership organisation là. Wangement ça là sinon on parole qui sorti que bah ces pays ça là pouvoir pour yo venir membre Economic Partnership Agreement. Directeur général Dr. Len Ismaël fait parole qui ces pays ça là qui bénéficie bien positif de wangement ça là. Antique et puis Montserrat aussi taper pouvoir pour yo ça venir membre Ectel. Et puis, finalement, State College Dominica par département sciences ayo, car offert Bachelor of Science degree pour nous, parole celle-là, sorti au chef département celle-là, nous Dennis Edwards.
C'est mon, yo te nous déjà mais yo viwe pour yo taper plus éducation pour yo savoir plus meilleure occupation pour moun et puis aussi pour yo aller faire d'autres bagages yo besoin bachelor's degree pour yo aller faire master so nous bio éducation ça là c'est premier stage passe à 2-3 l'année tout le monde à Dominique besoin au bachelor's degree et puis moun qui veut venir nous ces jeunes moun là qui sorti l'école yo ke what way puis c'est bachelor's degree yo ke aller l'école et puis Dominica State College pour 4 l'année et puis là sorti c'est quand yo aller University of West Indies ou l'autre university n'importe côté à la terre.
Messieurs, mesdames, ça c'est tout pour nouvelles en créole pour à présent. Non, moi c'est McPherson St. Luce. Au revoir.
Stay tuned for the tip of the day. In today's tip, we'll discuss teamwork. Few understand how to create the experience of teamwork or how to develop an effective team. Belonging to a team in the broadest sense is a result of feeling part of something larger than yourself. It has a lot to do with your understanding of the mission or objectives of your organization. First step in team building is to communicate expectations. A team has to have a common goal, and this needs to be stated clearly to every team member. Teams also need to know what the expectations of management are, including success factors, the resources they have available, and the priority of the tasks at hand. This gives the team a clear idea of what is involved and how they are going to go about achieving the goal. And that's National Focus. As usual, we invite your suggestions or comments. Please feel free to drop us an email at gis@dominica.gov.dm, or you can visit our website at news.gov.dm. You could also visit our GIS Dominica pages on both YouTube and Facebook. On behalf of the entire news production team, I'm Pearl Fontaine. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.